Hello and welcome. You're watching To The Point. Once again, an enormous controversy has erupted over Bharat Mata ki Jai. This time, it's sparked by Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis. On Saturday, Mr. Fadnavis said, if you want to live in this country, then you have to say Bharat Mata ki Jai, otherwise you have no right to live here. On Sunday, he attempted to contextualize his remarks, but didn't deny he'd made them. So today we ask, was Mr. Fadnavis speaking for the BJP or only for himself? And is the BJP itself dangerously raising temperatures or foolishly tying itself in knots? And finally, does the Constitution, which grants us freedom of expression, also guarantee freedom of silence? My guests are BJP spokesperson GVL Narasimha Rao, the RSS supporting author and thinker Ratan Sharda, Congress spokesperson and MP Abhishek Singhvi, the highly regarded sociologist Ashish Nandi, and the former editor-in-chief of the Times of India, Dilip Padgaonkar. Mr. Narasimha Rao, on Saturday, Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis said, and I'm going to quote him, some people say we will not say Bharat Mata ki Jai. Then what? Pakistan ki Jai or China ki Jai? If you want to live in this country, then you have to say Bharat Mata ki Jai. Otherwise, you have no right to live here. Yesterday, Mr. Fadnavis issued a statement where he clearly does not deny saying this. So I have a very simple question for you. Is this the BJP's official line, or has Mr. Fadnavis said more than he should have?
Karan, I think a large part of his statement, I think this was a 1 hour long speech that he made. And what you read out is half a minute of his speech. I think largely reflected the concern of the people of the country and the kind of issues that we have with people trying to fan anti-national sentiments, issuing fatwas against making it a religious issue, telling people not to chant Bharat Mata ki Jai. It is in this context he made this comment, and people have no right to live here. That's a comment that was made in jest.
In jest?
I think I would certainly
forgive me. This is very important. Are you saying that was a comment made in jest? In other words, it is a joke to say you have no right to live here. Were we meant to laugh when he said it?
No, that's not a joke. That's rhetorical. I think what you need to see is the pain and agony that he expressed to that statement. And as a very responsible leader,
if he was expressing pain and agony, why was he speaking in jest? The two are contradictory emotions. Pain doesn't lead to humor, unless it's black humor.
No, I think no. I think it's not a. When I say this, I'm not saying in that was a rhetorical kind of a statement. If you do not want to say Bharat Mata ki Jai, what else do you want to say?
Silence is an alternative.
You do not want to be a proud
Has it occurred
Indian?
to you that silence is an alternative?
No, I think someone who is aggrieved, who is agitated, he is not going to remain silent. I think you have seen how a religious organization, Darul Uloom, has issued a fatwa telling people of the religion, saying it's un-Islamic to say Bharat Mata ki Jai. Whereas in most Islamic countries, people have no problem hailing the motherland.
All right.
So certainly there are attempts to
just a
give
moment.
it a religious
I think
tone.
actually
there are attempts to
no. Let's not confuse the issue by claiming that in Islamic countries people have no problem hailing the motherland. You're actually probably factually wrong. Let's not divert. Let's stick to Mr. Fadnavis.
No,
Ratan Sharda, let me bring in Ratan Sharda. Ratan Sharda, a few days ago, the RSS Sanghchalak Mohan Bhagwat clarified that you can't force anyone to say Bharat Mata ki Jai. Unfortunately, in Mr. Fadnavis' clarification statement, he stood by his remarks. This is what he said on Sunday. What we object about is when someone says, I won't say Bharat Mata ki Jai. There is a limit to appeasement. So clearly, the Maharashtra Chief Minister disagrees with the RSS Sanghchalak. On this issue, who do you agree with? The RSS Sanghchalak or the Maharashtra Chief Minister?
Karan, let us first look at the context in which this particular, all these, sentences were spoken. You have heard of, Bharat Mata, Bharat tere tukde honge, then बर्बादी तक जंग रहेगी, कश्मीर मांगे आज़ादी, केरल मांगे आज़ादी. This was the context. and lionizing of those people who were speaking anti-national slogans, that Mr. Mohan Bhagwat said that we should teach people to say Bharat Mata ki Jai. I am surprised that we are actually translating, all the great linguists are translating these simple phrases into literal meanings. He said teach, he never said force. First of all, he never said force people. Then he said you can say anything, it is not necessary to see, because his point was that we should learn patriotism, we should learn love for the nation. That's all he meant.
Absolutely.
And then Mr. Owaisi jumps into it, flashes his minority
Can
card,
I,
and
Mr.
starts speaking
Sharda,
of
interrupt
cutting
you?
head and whatever, nobody
Mr.
forced him and
Sharda,
all
can I
that.
interrupt
so
you?
this was pure
You
politics
said
in which
Mr.
media
Sharda,
felt there was no reason for
permit me
media
to
put it
interrupt you.
along.
You said a very important thing. You emphasized that the Sangsang Chalak said we should teach, not we should force. What the Maharashtra
Yes,
Chief
that's the
Minister
word.
is saying, is that if you don't say it, you have no right to live in the country. That is not the RSS Sangsang Chalak's viewpoint.
what's
So
the
I
context
ask you my
there?
question. Who of the two is right?
Context again is that when somebody says I will not speak and he quotes religion for this, no religion in this world will tell that you will not love your motherland, you will not call your mother, your
Mr.
land
Sharda,
of birth
I'm
as
asking you a
motherland.
simple question.
There is a phrase
I'm
Madre
asking you a
Watan.
simple
So if you say
question,
Madre Watan ki
answer it
Zindabad,
rather than
then why
prevaricate
does
and
these-
dance
why do these
around by
people
not
quote
giving an
fatwas
answer?
and say we will not
I'm
say Bharat
repeating
Mata
that
ki Jai?
question to
So
you
from
again
that anger,
because it is
Devendra
critical.
Fadnavis
And I'm
something.
deliberately
He said we should not
interrupting
fall
you.
into appeasement policies or these kind of things.
Mr.
So that's all
Sharda,
he said.
Mr.
Beyond
Sharda.
that is political rhetorics. There is hyperbole.
Mr.
which he
Sharda,
can respond.
pause
I can
a
respond
moment
to that.
and listen to the question. It's important you answer the
Yeah.
question. The RSS Sangsang Chalak, as you yourself said, actually said we should teach, not force. The Maharashtra Chief Minister said
Yes.
something very different. He said, if you don't say it, you have no right to live in this country. And I'm asking you a simple question. Of the two men, who do you agree with?
Naturally, I agree with Mohan Bhagwat.
Thank you,
Am I
sir.
supposed to agree with everybody? Somebody says he is a politician. He made a hyperbolic statement considering what has been happening in Maharashtra, how fatwas are being shown to say we will not say, while no religion will tell you not to respect your mother. Bangladesh and national.
All right, sir. You've given your answer. I'm stopping you there. We're not going to Bangladesh.
Those Islamists are
The
less
important
Islamist
thing
than my
you
Muslims
said
in India.
is
This is what you're
I
saying?
agree with the Sangsang Chalak, and of Mr. Fadnavis, you said he's made a hyperbolic statement. Hyperbolic is the extreme form of adjectival exaggeration. That is actually what you're saying
Yeah,
about
exactly.
Mr.
So
Fadnavis.
let us stop the
Thank
sophistry.
you.
Let us
Thank
say
you.
what
You've
was
made
the
your point.
emotion
Let
behind
me,
it, was the
let me,
sentiment.
Mr. Sharda, let me bring the others in. Mr. Nandi, in the explanation that the Chief Minister put out yesterday, he went one step further. He says that those who oppose Bharat Mata ki Jai have malafide intentions and interests. They are divisive forces who want to create a rift in our country and wish to break the unity of the country. Now, the people who refuse to say Bharat Mata ki Jai were firstly Asaduddin Owaisi, he's an MP. Secondly, Varis Pathan, he's a Maharashtra MLA. And thirdly, the Deoband Seminary, who said that it would be against Islamic tenets to say it. Do you believe that these are people and institutions that want to create a rift and break India's unity? Is that a correct charge to level against them? Mr. Nandi?
I think it is absolutely comic to suggest this, that they have no right to declare that they wouldn't say Bharat Mata ki Jai. This is something which cannot be forced. I think Mohan Bhagwat is right in that sense. I think Mr. Fadnavis has made a very silly comment. We have already become the laughing stock of the world. Now we are doubly so.
So, in other words, the charge that people like Asaduddin Owaisi or Varis Pathan or the Deoband Seminary are trying to break the country is a comic, ludicrous charge. It is unjustified. Is that right, Mr. Nandi?
Yes, because Owaisi has also said that he has no problem with saying Bharat Mata ki Jai, but he refuses to be forced to say Bharat Mata ki Jai.
He'll say it of his own volition, but not under coercion or pressure.
So has Varis Pathan, if I am right.
Abhishek Singhvi, the Congress's position on this slogan is unfortunately both unclear and probably perhaps dubious to boot. On the one hand, you disagree with Mr. Fadnavis, but on the other, when Varis Pathan refused to say Bharat Mata ki Jai, several newspapers reported that it was your legislative leader, Radhakrishna Vicky Patil, who was the person who moved the motion to suspend Pathan. And even if that newspaper story is inaccurate, what is beyond doubt is that your party didn't dissent when the suspension was put to vote, making you complicit in the suspension. So I put to you a simple question. What right do you as a party have to wag a finger at Mr. Fadnavis today?
This is exactly the question you asked me in an earlier program, and I think we agreed to disagree because I told you clearly the answer. The leader of the House, opposition in the House, along with a lot of other MLAs, spoke on the collective view of the MLAs, which they are entitled to do in the House. They were not speaking on a Congress direction, they were not speaking on a whip, they were not speaking on any Congress diktat. It's their view. Equally, I have said many times from the podium of the AICC, and I'm repeating it, the Congress believes that you should say this with pride, with happiness, with joy, but you cannot be forced to say it. And let me repeat, despite I know what your objection is going to be, you cannot be punished for not saying it. Now, because a collective assembly believes that we, the collective wisdom of the House, means that we should punish somebody, that's up to them. But that doesn't make it the Congress stand or the stand across the country.
Can I put
Our stand is clear. Actually, the BJP is debasing and devaluing this great slogan by using it as a compulsory form of
what Shakur said to me roughly 8 days ago. He said that the Congress MLAs in Maharashtra had been intimidated by the BJP and the Shiv Sena. They were therefore unable to stand up for their alleged principles. They cowed down and went along with the majority and didn't dissent when the suspension was put to vote.
I don't know, and frankly I wouldn't care what others said. This is the official AICC line. I have myself said it from the AICC podium, and I'm repeating it to you very clearly, that this could be the view of the collectivity of the House of a party. It does not in any manner mean that it's the Congress rule, diktat or policy or whip. And let me tell you, Karan, this whole idea is actually the very great thing which you should glorify. The BJP in the name of nationalism is debasing it, devaluing it, by constantly forcing you and me to say it like this.
All right, it's a very interesting position you're taking, that the view that you should be suspended for refusing to say that slogan could be the view collectively of the MLAs of the Congress, but it's not the view of the Congress party. Sophistry at best, I would say, but forgive me, I don't mean to editorialize.
Inside the House is very different. Inside the House, that's very different.
Correct. Dilip Padgankar, how do you interpret Mr. Fadnavis's outburst? Is he dangerously raising the temperature in the country, or is he foolishly tying himself and his party into knots?
Well, he's the latest in the country to raise this temperature. After him, we had Baba Ramdev saying, had it not been for the Constitution, we would have chopped off the heads of lakhs of people who don't say Bharat Mata ki Jai. Karan, my own view is that either the Sangh Parivar are a confused lot, because they say one thing one day, go back on it, U-turn, more and more flip-flops. We've just heard someone say that Fadnavis' statement was made in jest, that it was rhetorical, it was a hyperbole, etc., etc. So either they're a confused lot, or there are fissures within the Sangh Parivar, or yet again, it's a concerted effort to pay good cop, soft cop, bad cop, tough cop, etc. I'm absolutely puzzled. As far as Mr. Fadnavis is concerned, let's not forget everything is now heading towards critical elections in the Bombay Municipal Corporation. And therefore you will find that the big fissures have developed within the alliance in Maharashtra. The Shiv Sena has been heading out at the BJP. But to come back to the point, Karan, just one quick point. This is so much hot air, this whole business of Bharat Mata ki Jai, nationalism, anti-nationalism. I want to ask defenders of Bharat Mata ki Jai as a compulsory slogan, whether those who stash money abroad, who don't pay their taxes, who default on their bank loans, are they greater anti-nationalists than the ones who refuse under duress to say Bharat Mata ki Jai?
A very good rhetorical point. Mr. Narasimha Rao, let me put to you this issue of raising temperatures that worries many people. First, the BJP's national executive claimed in a political resolution, and I'm quoting, refusal to chant victory to Bharat tantamounts to disrespect to our constitution. Then Mr. Fadnavis has said, those who refuse to say the slogan have no right to stay in India. Why is your party deliberately and repeatedly stirring emotions and playing with fire when you know that this can be dangerous for the country?
No, I think trying to create a nationalistic fervor can never be dangerous to a country. On the other hand, the kind of programs that were organized to hail terrorists in this country, the manner in which Congress party, mainstream party goes and stands by people who have raised slogans like Bharat ki Barbadi, I'm actually pleased that we are having such a debate and a discourse. I think a month and a half ago, we were talking about freedom of expression to call for destruction of India, breaking it into pieces. Many of you in the media said this is freedom of speech. Today we are only debating what is the best way to hail Bharat Mata. We are quite pleased with this change in situation. We are not compelling anyone to say a particular slogan.
Forgive me, you are compelling people to say a particular slogan. Otherwise, at the cost of not saying it, they have to leave the country. That is what Mr. Fadnavis said. That's compulsion, no matter how you define it.
No, I think you're getting it wrong. No, you're getting it wrong. I think our objection is to people like the Darul Uloom, who are claiming that, who are giving a fatwa against chanting Bharat Mata ki Jai. You have a number of moderate Muslims who take pride in doing it. You've seen that a member of parliament, Javed Akhtar, doing it on the floor of the house. A.R. Rahman doing it, many other Muslims doing it. Why are they compelling people not to raise this slogan?
No one's compelling them not to raise the slogan, but never mind, that may be your interpretation. In contrast...
No, that's what a fatwa means.
Just a moment. In contrast, Mr. Sharda, to what you've heard from Mr. Narasimha Rao, I want to quote to you with approval what the Sangsad Chalak said in Lucknow on the 25th of March. I'm quoting him. We have to create such a great India that people themselves chant Bharat Mata ki Jai. Show the way to the people of the world with our life and deeds. And then very importantly, Mr. Bhagwat added, we don't want to impose our ideology and thoughts on anyone. Now I put it to you, that represents sound advice. That is the best recipe for holding and keeping India united. In contrast, the Maharashtra Chief Minister is dividing people and taking a line that could threaten the unity of India. What advice do you give the Chief Minister who's deliberately for political reasons in indulging in what you yourself have called hyperbolic statements?
Karan, first of all, let me just go back to Mr. Singhvi. I find it very strange that whenever any senior member of Congress makes a statement, they immediately dissociate with itself. It's very nice sophistry. They will go to JNU to support anti-nationals and come back saying, no, we didn't support them. Their MLA say they want to throw away the MIM MLA, then they say this is not my view. Then finally, whose view is it? I mean, you will just keep on separating yourself. All the statements made, whether by Manish Tiwari or Mr. Singhvi or somebody else, why is that?
I respect Mr. Sharda, your right to counter Mr. Singhvi. The word sophistry was used by me. But I don't have time for you to actually carry on blocking horns with Mr. Singhvi. We are running out of time. I want to bring you back to my question. Please come back to my question. It's more important.
If you were to show...
Mr. Singh, Mr. Sharda, please come back to my question. I'm running out of time. My question was, what is your advice to the Maharashtra Chief Minister
saying Bharat Mata ki Jai? If you have to show Sufi saying Bharat Mata ki Jai, if you have to show N90 students in Srinagar saying Bharat Mata ki Jai,
Mr. Sharda,
debate
if you're not going to answer my question, I'll move to the next person because I'm afraid time is limited and I have to insist that you answer the question I ask you rather than carry on a discourse of your own. I made that point to Mr. Singhvi that his answer was sophistry. You don't have to repeat it. Please answer my question. I made a very approving distinction between the line taken by the Sangsad Chalak who says we do not want to impose our ideology and thoughts on anyone, and the Maharashtra Chief Minister who actually is doing that. And I asked you, what advice do you give the Maharashtra Chief Minister? Answer that question, please.
See, first of all, when you people say that people laugh at Devendra Fadnavis, I think you are making a mistake. If you take a straw poll, you will find that people are appreciating what he said. Whether he said it in a wrong way or not, that is a different point. And if BJP leader wants to say something, is RSS going to control what he says? They have their own stand. A CM of the state makes a certain statement. He is a responsible person. Why should RSS go and either support him or oppose him? It's his prerogative. Let BJP respond to that. Let him respond to that. He said that appeasement has to stop. That was his final word. And now then there is no view. RS has been saying right from beginning for 90 years of its work that it will not impose its ideology on anybody.
All right.
People are,
I'm stopping you there, Mr. Sharda. The point you're making is that the RSS is not going to comment on Mr. Fadnavis, even if you don't agree with Mr. Fadnavis. And even, as you yourself said, Mr. Fadnavis' statement is hyperbolic. But you're not going to comment on him because you give him the right to be wrong, or presumably at least different to you. Ashish Nandi, Mr. Fadnavis also said something else. And I'm quoting him. He said, it's not merely about the slogan, but it's about the lakhs and lakhs of freedom fighters who sacrificed their lives chanting Bharat Mata ki Jai. He then went one step further, even beyond that. He said, it's about thousands and thousands of soldiers who selflessly attained martyrdom chanting Bharat Mata ki Jai. Is refusal to say Bharat Mata ki Jai an insult to freedom fighters or to India's Jawans?
I agree with this statement.
I do not think so. I will give you another instance.
No, Mr. Sharda, that's to Ashish Nandi. Go ahead.
I will give you another instance. In 1905, when Bengal was divided by Lord Curzon, and there was an agitation against that, many Muslims who joined the agitation did sing Vande Mataram without any problem. Only when he started making it something like compulsory, then others objected. They said that it has touches of worship, and we are not allowed by our religion to worship anybody but one God. But I think that is perfectly all right. I don't see anything wrong in it. There are many ways of showing one's affection and fondness for one's own country. And in any case, we have seen that this so-called nationalism can often be the last refuge of scoundrels. We know, everybody knows about that.
What about my question, Mr. Nandi? Is it disrespect or an insult to freedom fighters or to India's soldiers if you don't say Bharat Mata ki Jai? Because that's the defense Mr. Fadnavis is putting up.
Not at all. I do not think Bhagat Singh ever said Bharat Mata ki Jai.
Deepadankar, there is another defense that Mr. Fadnavis has put up, and I'm going to quote him. He says in his statement, and this is Sunday's statement, he says he made a 50-minute speech, of which 45 minutes were devoted to Maharashtra's drought and development. He says he spent just 5 minutes on Bharat Mata ki Jai, but the media, he claims, only picked that up. And his conclusion, I'm quoting him, is a section of the media is interested in creating controversy. Do you agree with Mr. Fadnavis, or was the media correct in focusing on the controversial and the potentially incendiary and ignoring the rest?
Karan, on a white kurta, if there is a tiny spot of blank ink, it is that black spot of ink that is going to be noticed, not the whiteness of the kurta. So this business saying that I spoke for 45 minutes on development, on drought, on water shortages, and the media has just picked up on this one sentence, I think is something either that Mr. Fadnavis really doesn't know how the media function. And secondly, this targeted criticism of the media is a classic of what we expect to believe from many politicians, namely, you don't like the message, so you shoot the messenger. And this is what seems to have happened in the case of Mr. Fadnavis.
Very beautifully put, Dilip Pradhankar. If there's a kanker in the dal and that comes into the mouthful you have, it's the kanker you'll remember, not the beautiful taste of the rest of the dal. Very beautifully put. Abhishek Singhvi, in March, Rahul Gandhi, your Vice President, strongly castigated Mr. Modi on the floor of the Lok Sabha for dividing individuals and communities in the name of the flag. But when his own MLAs in Maharashtra were complicit in keeping silent when a motion to suspend Waris Pathan was passed, Mr. Gandhi had nothing to say. Sonia Gandhi had nothing to say. Yet the Maharashtra MLAs had contradicted the stand he'd taken. But in that contradiction, he found no reason to speak out. Why does Mr. Gandhi, why does Sonia Gandhi lack the courage to stand up and forthrightly say every Indian has a right to refuse to say Bharat Mata ki Jai?
Firstly, I find it amusing and frankly completely wrong that you're reducing the entire Congress stand repeatedly to the Varis Pathan episode. That is completely wrong. It misses the larger picture of what the BJP is doing and what the Congress stand is. Secondly, when the AICC, and I've repeated many times, has taken very clearly in writing and orally more than 3 times the stand of the Congress, I fail to understand the relevance or significance of the Congress President or the Congress Vice President not repeating.
Because they are the President and the Vice President. They count for more than anyone else. Their silence is deafening and worrying.
I don't think that on every issue, especially an issue which is raised, propounded and deliberately divisive by the BJP and which the Congress has completely condemned from the podium, you can fault the party because the President and the Vice President haven't repeated it in those terms. But their stand is clear.
This is not any issue.
This is not
every issue. This is a critical issue that could be potentially incendiary, that is dividing the country, on which the media is exercising particular focus and attention, and the Gandhis have ducked it. I'm using that word advisedly. The Gandhis have ducked it.
All that you have proved, Karan, is that the Gandhis are at fault because they don't follow the methodology of declaring the Congress stand which you choose to think the ideal method. I don't think anybody has any doubt about the Congress stand, and that's hardly an answer to the huge divisiveness from the Sakshi Maharajas to the others on this issue. Every day we hear from the Baba Ramdev. I think that is the real substantive issue, not the Varis Pathan episode or somebody not speaking.
The Varis Pathan is absolutely substantive because it's the episode on which the Gandhis were to be tested and they failed that test. They ducked the test.
Which has been clarified.
I'm going to take a break at that point, gentlemen.
Which has been clarified by the ICC.
I'm going to ask a slightly different question. How does my panel respond and react to the right? And I use that word advisedly and deliberately, the right of those Muslims who choose not to say Bharat Mata ki Jai, not to say. It is a constitutional right, because remember, not only does our constitution give us freedom of expression, it also gives us the freedom to be silent. That's the subject in part 2. See you in a moment after the break. Welcome back. You're watching To The Point, and we are discussing Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis's comments on Bharat Mata ki Jai. Ashish Nandi, let's come to the objection some Muslims have in saying Bharat Mata ki Jai. They see that slogan as deification of the country, a point corroborated by the fact that RSS illustrations show a goddess astride a lion waving the saffron flag. How do you view this religious hesitation of some Muslims to embrace Bharat Mata ki Jai?
I think it is understandable. In any case, if you try to force adult human beings to say something, they won't say it. That's human nature. And even if somebody like Ramdev threatens them with decapitation, I think the whole thing begins with politics. That this is a way of mobilizing support, because other ways of mobilizing support and dividing people have not paid an adequate dividends in recent past. So this is the new way of mobilizing some more middle class support.
But your point is
that is the reason Congress also is not opposing it in Maharashtra Assembly. They think they might be at the receiving end in the electoral battle.
But the important point, Mr. Nandi, is that you believe that the hesitation that some Muslims have is understandable. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Because
at that time they were not particular. They were quite willing to say it, but as I think Varis Pathan said, and obviously said, that they don't want to be forced to say it.
Dilip Padgaonkar, Muslims like Varis Pathan have said that they would be happy and proud to say Jai Hind, Sare Jahan Se Hacha, Hindustan Hamara, or Inqilab Zindabad. Are these, in your eyes, acceptable alternatives to Bharat Mata ki Jai, or does Bharat Mata ki Jai have a special position which requires special allegiance?
I have absolutely no problem with either of these 4 slogans. I am for each one of them. The only proviso is don't impose any one of them on anyone. This one. Karan, but let me quickly tell you what my great worry is. My worry is that obviously I found the anti-national slogans raised in JNU to be condemnable. I condemn them. At the same time, when I see that in the past 20 months, there has been this rising rhetoric from Ramzada, Haramzada, Ghar Wapasi, Love Jihad, down to today, when you're speaking about tricolor, saffron color, national anthem, official anthem, and so on and so forth. I travel around the country, Karan, and let me tell you, I fear for this country's internal security, because this kind of communal rhetoric is alienating a huge section of our citizenry, and that is what I find worrisome. The fact that some people have chanted anti-national slogans, please, for God's sake, get hold of them, put them up in a court of law, send them to jail, but please look at the internal security. I am deeply worried about this growing daily rhetoric which says, if you don't do this, if you eat this, etc., this is the test of your nationalism, of your patriotism. I find that extremely disturbing.
So then you agree with the premise of the question I put to Mr. Narasimha Rao in part 1, that the BJP is playing with fire and this fire could threaten the country?
Well, I think there is, a sinister ring to the whole thing, Karan, which is truly bothering me. And I say it quite honestly, I look at things from as cool a perspective as possible. Worrying is the threats to internal security. And I believe this rhetoric that's been going on louder and louder, sharper and sharper, more and more heated, constitutes truly a threat to national security.
Ratan Sharda, the logical corollary of the Sangsar Chalak's position enunciated in Lucknow on the 25th of March, when he said, and I'm quoting him once again, we don't want to impose our ideology and thoughts on anyone. The logical corollary of that position is that he has no problem with Muslims who refuse to say Bharat Mata ki Jai. He may not like it, but he accepts their right not to say it and he won't force them. Is that a correct reading of the Sangsar Chalak's position?
So far, yes.
Thank you very much, sir. It therefore follows that the Sangsar Chalak wouldn't go around saying, if you don't say Bharat Mata ki Jai, you don't have a right to live in this country. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, he never said it. All his life, nobody in RSS has said this.
In which case, and I applaud you for confirming what I'm saying, I want to ask you one further question. What would be the Sangsar Chalak's view of the statement made by Mr. Fadnavis? Would he approve of what Mr. Fadnavis said, or would he say that was a mistake and error?
I already said that Mr. Fadnavis works in a political field. He has made certain statements as a political leader, and we have no reason to call him and pull him up for whatever he said. He is a leader in his own right. Whatever Mr. Bhagwat has to say, he will say, maybe, probably. But let me also say that this question of Muslims not being allowed to worship motherland, I raised the question earlier also. Bangladesh, an Islamic state, has a national anthem which has got a para which is dedicated to motherland. So how are you saying that Muslims cannot say this? This unnecessary bowing down to extreme elements in Islam was done earlier since Khilafat.
Sir,
we paid a heavy price ending up with orthodoxy on our side and going against modern Muslims.
There is a difference to referring to your country as the motherland or the fatherland. The Germans choose to see that as the fatherland. And Bharat Mata, because Bharat Mata could no land, it's the deification of the motherland that becomes a problem.
I don't agree. Mother is mother. There is no God in that. Do you say your mother is a God? Are you saying that if you say somebody Mata, so is a gender bias in Islam inherent, which these mullahs are saying?
Perhaps,
that if you call somebody
Mr. Sharda,
father, it's fine. You call somebody mother, it becomes a gender bias.
It to the Muslim community, but the important point.
This. Why should I ask?
Why should I ask? No, the important point.
Will you please ask?
No, Mr. Sharda. The important point you made, and I want to stick to that, is that the Sangsar Chalak would never say that if you don't say Bharat Mata ki Jai, you have no right to live in this country. That is the important point I want to hold on to, because I think it is a political point. And I'm now going to Mr. Narasimha Rao. Mr. Sharda, permit me, I need to go to Mr. Narasimha Rao. Mr. Narasimha Rao, in 1986, in the Supreme Court, in what's called the Jehovah's Witnesses case, the Supreme Court ruled that provided you stand up, there is no disrespect to the national anthem or the constitution or the nation if you refuse to sing the national anthem. And the national anthem, by the way, is far more sacrosanct than Bharat Mata ki Jai. So, if you can refuse to sing Jana Gana Mana, the Supreme Court would have no problem with any Indian refusing to say Bharat Mata ki jai. So Mr. Fadnavis's position is also in conflict with the Supreme Court's.
I think we are not, Karan, we are not talking about the legal or constitutional position. I have stated upfront and repeated it many times. I think the constitution, like Owaisi said, does not impose on anyone to say it. But it does not give you the right to object or to prevent people from saying it. It is Bharat Mata ki jai, it's not Bharat Devi ki jai. There is no religion involved in this. And if there is a sinister plan in this country, it is to really give a bad name to India all over the world, talking about India being intolerant. I fear some problems from that kind of elements that Mr. Dilip Padgaonkar referred to. It is these elements which are creating a bad image of India, which are a threat to this country, not those who are actually telling people to be patriotic, not to stand by people who are raising anti-national slogans in JNU in the garb of freedom of speech.
Accurate, but for the fact that in the Waris Pathan case, he was forced to say it and suspended for not doing so. He's not like the Deoband seminary, which is advising Muslims at their request, by the way. It's not suo motu, it's at their request, that in the eyes of the seminary, it is a breach of Islamic principles to say Bharat Mata ki jai. That's a different issue. In Waris Pathan's case, your MLAs and Shiv Sena MLAs forced him to say it. When he refused, they suspended him. So yes, it is about forcing people. Waris Pathan was forced.
No, we stated this repeatedly, Karan. But anyone who is deliberately provoking people, saying, I do not want to chant
Forgive
this
me,
mantra.
the BJP and Shiv Sena were
Bharat
deliberately
Mata ki
provoking
jai.
Waris Pathan. The provocation came from BJP
No,
and
it
Shiv
was
Sena
Pathan who
MLAs
was
who
provoking.
insisted he say something
No,
he didn't
no,
want to
I
say.
think you're wrong.
The
You are
provocation
wrong.
was from them, not Waris
You're
Pathan.
clearly wrong.
I'm not
It
wrong,
was
I'm
the
right.
MIM leadership.
Forgive me,
It was
I'm
the
right.
MIM.
You've got your facts
No,
wrong,
it
sir.
was the MIM people who were repeatedly saying that I will not do it. I think please understand the distinction. Nobody is forcing anyone to chant this
I'm going
every
to say
day.
something to you, Mr. Narasimha Rao.
I think
As an
there
Indian
is no
citizen, I have
legal-
a right to say I will not say it. I may choose to say it, I may want to say it, I often do say it, but I have a right to say I won't say it. And you do not have any authority to
But I
force
have a
me
right. I have an equal right.
to say
I
it,
have an
but
equal
not
right to
force
say
me
that
to
you
say
are
it.
in the wrong.
You have a right
I do
to
not agree with you. I think you are
Absolutely.
unpatriotic.
But Mr.
I will say that.
But Mr. Fadnavis went one step further.
How
He
can you-
said
how
that
can
I
you
don't
take
have a
away
right to
my
live in
freedom
this
of
country
speech?
if I don't say it. And I say to you,
Karan,
he's
may I
wrong
add something?
constitutionally, morally, ethically, and in every other way. But let's not make this a quarrel between you and me. You're smiling, sir, and I like that smile very much. I'd like it to stay there for as long as I can. Abhishek Singhvi, I want to pick up with you a point made by Professor Nandi, because many believe he actually got to the core of the issue as far as Congress is concerned. Your party is apprehensive that on this issue of Bharat Mata ki jai, the BJP may have struck an emotional chord with the Indian people, which is why Sonia and Rahul keep quiet and are deafeningly silent, which is why your MLAs in Maharashtra, whether they were reflecting the party position or not is irrelevant, in one fell swoop sided with the BJP in Shiv Sena. You sense that on this issue, whatever your principles may be, the emotional chord struck with the Indian people will work against you politically. That's what's keeping you quiet.
Well, firstly, Karan, I admire your persistence in reducing, as far as the Congress is concerned, this 45 minutes debate into a single issue question. You repeated it 3 times. Secondly, I deny completely what you are saying, because if you have till now, whether from Shashi Tharoor or from me or from the various briefings, not got the idea that the Congress is openly condemning it, then what politics and what votes are we seeking? Then I should not have been giving these answers all this while on the podium, because that would be attributed to the Congress. In that case, let me ask you, why would the Congress take this stand? You are in this whole process not allowing the main opposition party in the country to say that actually it's a much larger issue. For me, it would be equally bad if you kept on repeating the insistence to say Bharat Mata, even in the Mohan Bhagwat sense, without even saying that you must get out of the country if you don't say it. Because I believe that it's a fake debate. Why should we be wasting so much energy, time in constantly trying to wear our patriotism on our sleeve by only saying Bharat Mata. It's a very fictitious difference that Mohan Bhagwat doesn't say get out and Fadnavis says get out.
No,
the point is debate is a fake debate because it is raised to divide the country.
It's not a fictitious difference. You're forcing me to actually clarify and look as if I'm speaking in defense of Mr. Bhagwat, but it's important as an anchor. I do that because what Mr. Bhagwat said is critically important. He says, we do not want to impose our ideology and thoughts on people. That's not a fictitious difference. That's a real difference. By the way, that by the way, would have been words that Rahul Gandhi could have spoken with pride if Rahul had the conviction to speak them. He kept quiet. Mr. Bhagwat said it nonetheless. I'll end with Mr. Sharda because I saw your finger going up.
There you go again, your favorite
I saw your
team.
finger going up, Mr. Sharda. Just one thing. On this issue, until Mr. Bhagwat clarified his position, and until you further clarified it this evening, many people have misunderstood the RSS Sanchak Chalak. Why can't the RSS Sanchak Chalak just one more time clarify? I'd like people to say Bharat Mata ki Jai, but they have a right to refuse, and I'll accept that. I will never force anyone to say it. Why can't he say it just one time clearly? Because the BJP would learn an important lesson to hear their men to say it, and maybe then these crazies and loonies in the BJP would not make these silly mistakes.
See, before I say what Mr. Bhagwat said, may I ask whether what is the Singhvi's stand on Rahul Gandhi going and standing with the anti-nationals in JNU, or he is going to deny that?
Sir, we are running out of time. If you deflect by talking about Rahul Gandhi, the time I have left for you will disappear. This is your chance to answer.
He will say when he wants to say. See, he will say when he wants to say. He doesn't make many statements. He made a few statements, none of which is negative. So he carry on with that.
All right.
Why should keep on clarifying?
In which case, let me end by saying, let's hope the time comes very soon when Mr. Bhagwat says what he wants to say, because I, for one, am itching for him to say what you clarified on his behalf, and his saying it would be an important message to the BJP, because it would then stop people in the BJP making hot-headed and indiscreet comments, and India needs Mr. Bhagwat to rein them in. My thanks to all my guests for joining me, and my thanks to you who've been watching. Goodbye.
Obviously, we can, focus on the positive things that we did there against Australia.
We've got a very different team to those games that we played. We went through quite a few players throughout those 3 games.
Congress wali rang barse